Hello, dear friends. I'm neither a Trump supporter nor a Trump detractor. He did good things, but he didn't fulfill all of his campaign promises, as is the case with all politicians. That is why I try to take a neutral, objective, and unbiased stance on all issues. This is not like soccer, where you have to take sides with one of the two teams, red or blue. Journalism is independence, and I criticize everyone if they fail. And I am not married to anyone. But the way things are going, sooner or later we will be forced to take sides. Opinion piece. New ways of healing. Advances in medical technology. Using electromagnetic frequencies. Trump failed to deliver on this election promise. He talked about age reversal technology, but he didn't declassify or any classified patents. Iranian plan to sink ships throughout cyberattacks. Europeans protest against the healthcare dictatorship. Scientific authoritarianism erodes human freedom. Half the world is flooded and the other half is on fire. They said it would get worse, but we don't know to what extent. The human ego always yearns for an endgame scenario. Everything must be disassembled very carefully to reduce damage. China faces devastation caused by its floods. Mystery in Cuba. 5 Cuban generals die in only 10 years. 10 days, Only 10 days. Let's start. President Trump told the nation on June 14, 2020, in quotes, almost all hospital procedures will be obsolete within a year or so. I talked about age reversal technology as well. He talked. But did not declassify any hidden patents. He didn't follow throughout on his promise, but signed several executive orders related to this issue. Trump was referring to very high-tech medical beds hidden from the public for the time being, capable of curing almost all ailments and producing age regression throughout the use of light and frequency spectra. Holographic medical capsules are automated stations where a medical expert selects the type of procedure to be performed from the computer database. The patient lies in the capsule or on the bed, and the machine performs the appropriate operation or medical procedure for each case. In the event that surgery is necessary, it diagnoses, treat and perform a wide range of surgical procedures with ultrafine laser incisions, guided by 3-dimensional anatomical scanning. Finally, the lasers close the entry point from which the procedure was initiated. It has refractive lenses that take live scans of the body to perform various medical procedures. ET technology. Holographic medical capsule technology is not from planet Earth. It is not a technology created by human beings. It is a technology given to humankind by other beings from off-world. Medbeds are based on tachyon particle energy, which are particles faster than light and faster than plasma energy. The plasma energy comes from the universe, balancing the planets to keep them in position so that they do not collide with each other. In other words, the solar system is in balance with itself and all the planets. the soil, the atmosphere, the water. Everything is plasma energy. In fact, everything in the universe is plasma energy. It's just in a different form in the midst of different vibrational frequencies. The medbed has controllable artificial intelligence, so it can't get out of control or go crazy, because it's actually a computer. It works like an MRI. It does an oscillation and scan of your body by resonance in order to diagnose a disease. A different thing are replicators that recycle old stuff into plasma energy. There is no waste, no garbage, nothing that pollutes the environment or destroys the ecosystem. Soil is plasma energy. Plants are plasma energy. Take a replicator to a poor village, and those people can have everything they ever dreamed of in a matter of minutes. Replicators will eliminate the need for large tracts of land to feed the population. Anything you want, you can have. 3D printers are the forerunners of replicators. Breaking news. Justice Department asked Treasury to release Trump's tax returns to Congress. The Justice Department said Friday that the Treasury's Internal Revenue Service must release former President Trump's income tax returns to Congress 2 years into the request. Stocks fall. Dollar has worst week in nearly 2 months. Stocks fell Friday to pull away from record highs as a disappointing earnings report from Amazon dampened the market's mood, while the dollar recovered from its lows but still suffered its worst week in nearly 2 months. Gold on track for best weekly gains in 2 months. Gold prices are hovering near a 2-week high throughout Friday, showing the biggest weekly gain in more than 2 months as the Federal Reserve keep policy rates unchanged, sparking investor optimism about commodity markets. Job changers are the big winners in the labor market. Workers who changed jobs during the downturn receive better wages than those who stayed with their employer. Job changers saw their wages grow by 5.8% year on year in June, while those who had a job experienced a 3.1% increase. Heat wave hits Pacific Northwest and Southeastern U.S. More than 60 million citizens in the Pacific Northwest and Southeastern U.S. are under heat warnings, facing temperatures well above 100 degrees and record temperatures in parts of Idaho and Washington. Greenland experienced a massive ice melt this week. Greenland lost a huge amount of ice Wednesday and melted enough to cover the state of Florida with 2 inches of water, scientists said. Spain. Spain's economy grew by 2.8% in the second quarter of the year. The Spanish economy rebounded during the second quarter of the year with a 2.8% advance in gross domestic product, GDP, coinciding with the lifting of restrictions. Contamination of aquifers leaves many municipalities without drinking water in Spain. Dozens of Spanish municipalities suffer for lack of drinking water. Agricultural contamination, lack of controls, and drought threaten water quality to the point that in towns like Lastres de Cuellar in the province of Segovia, 2 hours from Madrid, people brush their teeth or cook with bottled water. The European Court of Justice has lifted the provisional measures that suspended the European parliamentary immunity of the former President of the Generalitat, Charles Puigdemont, and his former advisors, Toni Comín and Clara Ponsatí, all three with seats as MEPs. Europe. Germany tightens rules for travelers. Germany will require all travelers arriving in the country from Sunday to present a negative test result for the suspected test, stepping up health checks on returning tourists amid concern over a rise in cases at vacation destination. New European Union funded flexible ultralight and powerful solar panels. They are only 4 mm thick and 20.9% efficient, 50% lighter and more powerful than conventional models. US-based Maxion Solar Technologies was chosen as one of the 32 recipients of a $140.6 million European Union grant. These are Maxion air solar panels planned for commercial sale this summer. The devices will be manufactured in Porcelet in northeastern France. Simon Pax tells us that Tesco is closing bank accounts. As part of the realization among banks that massive profits will no longer be made at people's expense, Tesco in the UK has announced that it will be exiting banking by closing more than 200,000 accounts. By doing this by November 2021, Tesco hopes to exit before interest rates are reduced. World's most powerful tidal turbine capable of supplying 2,000 UK homes with clean energy enters service. The world's most powerful tidal turbine, rated at 2 megawatts, began generating power connected to the UK grid. It is anchored in the waters of the Orkney Islands and is connected by submarine cables to the European Marine Energy Centre, located in this British archipelago. Protest. Europe resists dictatorship. In Rome, in the Piazza del Popolo, thousands of demonstrators marched with torches to denounce the application of the Green Pass. In addition, chaos broke out in the Italian parliament over plans to introduce national health passes. The Italian government has introduced one of the most draconian versions of the passport in Europe. Italians have protested vociferously against the measure, with demonstrators in Turin chanting "not to dictatorship" during a demonstration. Millions of demonstrators around the world protest against the clashes in London, Sydney, Paris and Rome, with some clashes turning violent. France. Across France, protests are planned in cities such as Paris, Marseille, Montpellier, Nantes and Toulouse. In London, England, hundreds of thousands unite to oppose the elimination of freedom. Ireland, church in Glasgow destroyed by fire last night. In Australia, the government has reintroduced forced closures, but people are taking to the streets and breaking police barricades. Alaska, 8.2 magnitude earthquake with warning of a possible tsunami off the coast of Alaska. Brazil, an intense outbreak of cold air is entering southern Brazil with unusual snowfall. New Jersey, damaging tornado moving toward populated areas. Wisconsin, Tornado warning with large-scale northerly winds. Large tornado hits Ben Salem, Pennsylvania, causing severe property damage. Farmers are paid to destroy their crops rather than to sell them to the public. Global tourism volume is down 85% compared to 2019. The IMF now wants that inflation may not be transitory. Spanish America. Mystery in Cuba. 5 high-ranking generals died in just 10 days. The Cuban government has not released the case of death of the 5 high-ranking generals who have died in the last 10 days. Their names are Armando Choy Rodríguez, Rubén Martínez Puente, Marcelo Verdecia Perdomo, Manuel Eduardo Lastres Pacheco, and Agustín Peña Torres. U.S. establishes sanctions against Cuba's National Revolutionary Police. The U.S. targets Cuba's National Revolutionary Police and the force's chief in the latest round of sanctions against the island nation, Treasury Department announced. Strong earthquake shakes northern Peru. Moments of panic in northwestern Peru on the Pacific coast, which this Friday has been brutally shaken by an earthquake of magnitude 6.1 on the open Richter scale. It occurred at about 10 past 12 o'clock noon local time. For the moment, there are no reports of fatalities, although there are reports of injuries. Peruvian currency hits record low. Peru's currency fell to a record low in more than 7 years after the new president Pedro Castillo appointed a member of his Marxist party as prime minister and has yet to name a finance minister, leaving the direction of politics and the economy uncertain. Chile's copper corporation reports profits almost 10 times higher than in 2020. Chile's state-owned mining company Codelco recorded $3,675 billion in profits in the first half of this year, almost 10 times more than the same period last year. Asia. United Nations compound attacked in western Afghanistan. Anti-government elements in Afghanistan attacked the main UN compound in the capital of the western province of Herat on Friday, and at least one security guard was killed. Secret files show Iranian plans to sink ships throughout cyberattacks. The documents, according to reports from the Revolutionary Guard's secret unit, name Israel, the US, UK, and others as potential targets. A cache of top-secret documents allegedly written by Iranian intelligence shows that Tehran is building a bank of potential targets for cyber attacks. Sky News reported. The files, screenshots of which were published by the UK media outlet, show plans for attacks that could sink a cargo ship or set off a fuel bomb at a gas station. US condemns harassment of foreign journalists in China. The White House was deeply troubled by the harassment and intimidation of foreign correspondents covering deadly floods in China, a State Department spokesman said. China is headed for a financial spiral since food shortages have hit the country, and severe flood devastation in several provinces has affected the supply chain and energy structures. China orders 25 tech giants to fix a series of problems. China ordered more than 2,000 technology companies to conduct internal inspections as part of a campaign to root out illegal online activity. Neanderthals may have disappeared due to sex with humans. Scientists have discovered that a rare blood disorder, a hemolytic disease of the fetus, a newborn, may have had a deadly impact on the offspring of a sexual pairing between Neanderthals and Cro-Magnons. Reflections. Half of the world is flooded, and the other half seems to be burning. Earthquakes and tsunamis in between. And there is incredible news from the Ruhr Valley, one of the flooded areas of Germany. Incidents have occurred there that are truly unheard of. In the town of Ahrweiler, there is a school that has been used by volunteers to provide medical care, to provide overnight camps, food and drink for volunteers, and to deliver in-kind donations to flood victims in need. And they say it would get worse, but we don't know to what extreme. We have been told we will be pushed to the brink, and we don't know what that means, but we have been advised to stock up on food and supplies for at least 2 weeks, and I expect, based on the unexpected and extreme events unfolding in so many countries, that everyone will do it and not expect anyone to support them or protect them from what may come. Anything could happen. Shutdowns in Australia. The military are getting involved in the Sydney shutdowns. Australia and the UK are being used as an experiment by the Black Hats to see how much punishment people will get before they stand up and say enough is enough. The ego always craves an endgame scenario, according to Matt Kahn. How can I stop this, get rid of that, eliminate this, transcend that? While the ego is always looking for things to stop, the one thing it cannot do is stamp something new. This is a choice that only the soul can make. By daring to focus on new choices, one empowered choice at a time, you begin to commune with your soul, while separating from ego attachments with respect, humility, compassion, and love. When the boom ends, a depression begins, according to the Nomad Economist. There is a considerable Austrian literature on the unsustainable boom driven by credit expansion. When the boom ends, a depression begins. The depression is a transitory period of reduced production that lasts until entrepreneurs restructure capital and labor into sustainable uses. During the depression, unemployment is inevitable, both of people and of productive assets. Recovery is marked by an increase in production and employment of resources that were idle during the crisis. Scientific authoritarianism erodes human freedom. Resisting the advance of scientific authoritarianism has become the front line for the protection of human freedom and private property. A fundamental difference between modern dictatorships and all other tyrannies of the past is that terror is no longer used as a means of exterminating and terrorizing opponents, but as an instrument for rallying masses of people who are perfectly obedient. Hannah Arendt, The Origins of Totalitarianism, 1966. He who trusts too much in others is a threat in every corner. He who trusts too much in others wakes up terrified. Wilhelm Busch. Revelation 13:17. No one may buy or sell except the who has the mark or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. What did you come here to do? Be true to yourself and respond with your soul, mind, body, as that is to be judged by higher powers who saw you, your every move and every word, knowing fully your intention and your will, to reincarnate in your duty, to seek forgiveness, listen to all that you have harmed on this journey. Begin your journey of building where your actions destroyed. Know within yourself that you are correcting God's will. Know also that today it is in your hand to listen to the enrichment of the human being of self, or of one nation over another. The event by liberty. Everyone wants the event to come as quickly as possible. Many people predict dates. For those who think that some people decide where there will be an event, I inform you, only God knows the date of the event and only God decides it. The event is a very complicated process. The duck has set many traps, and not only a matrix but also strange bombs implanted in our energy bodies and many different things. All this must be dismantled very carefully so that there are no irreversible consequences. Also, it was only recently that almost all the hostages were released. Almost all, but not all. Thanks a lot, dear friends.